Hey, I'm Magnus Carlsen.
And I'm Fabiano Caruana, and today we're going to be looking at some of our games from the 2018 World Chess Championship match.
Let's go.
Yeah, so this is the first one.
Very generous accuracy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Probably because we played the rook endgame for so long.
Played a rook endgame forever, yeah. Yeah, so I think it's really interesting to see how things develop, right? Because this was the first game of the match and the first game where I played the Sveshnikov as black. So I think that like the level of preparation, I think for both sides was very basic compared to what it was later. The general ideas here because it used to be like the main line, but I mean after a while things certainly developed quite a lot.
I think that you were just like way ahead in these bishop takes e6 lines. That's why we kind of decided not to go in this direction later.
There was specifically this b6 stuff, right? And that was kind of
we just didn't consider this.
That was not much played at the time, and like I mean it's still kind of iffy for black, but I don't know when it happened. Like now nobody plays DC6 anymore.
But also at the time, like we didn't take DC so seriously because we just thought it was like a pretty pleasant position. And BC was still very popular in like 2016. Yeah. Like Hikaru, Elianov played it against me. I had a lot of games there, and DC was just forgotten. I actually had a game against Gelfin in 2018 Olympiad. Yeah,
I remember that was quite convincing.
Yeah, he allowed e5 early on, which isn't very strategically good for black, I guess.
I played a lot of training games against Dubov. Like, I think he started out by saying that bc6 is a better move, but if you don't want to do that, you can also play. I'm not gonna, like, if you prefer dc6, then we should look at that as well. But I feel like he was the only one who was kind of getting away with, like, there's 98, knight c7, knight e6 positions with the pawn on e5, but to me it always kind of didn't look that good.
This direction is like really forgotten about these days. Yeah. Also because people don't really take on c6 anymore.
Yeah, but people also don't go dc really at all. Yeah. I saw some guy played in the Bundesliga, I think against Raunak, some guy from St. Pauli, and I think Raunak played this way, and I think he took with the bishop on f4, and then
like my knowledge was that you take with the rook at the time. I just it was only like knight e6. I think bishop e6 was just not.
Yeah, bishop e6 was kind of and then this h6 stuff. Like I kind of remember in detail what I knew and didn't know, but knight e6 is just more or less bad, I think. So
I don't know why I didn't play a4. I mean, when you think about it logically, like after h6, there is no possible downside. There is definitely an upside that b6 is weak, but there's no possible downside for white, I think, to including a4, a5.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I like it's typical first game, right? Like you want to go queen d2, and like even if you think for forever, like you want to make some general move. But I agree. Like I think a4, a5 was our main focus here.
I think maybe my thought process was I wanted at some point consider a3, b4, but I think I was just like tanking and also getting a bit confused to like the next few moves. But so far,
this queen d6, I remember I was already I think I was already out of book as well, but queen d6 is like. That was the key idea. I mean, obviously not to allow d4 and
also not to allow like queen d7, knight g4 or something like that.
Yeah, of course, for those who like the idea is, well, actually not here, knight d7, but
why is it? It's knight d7 just
knight d7, e5, yeah. So but the general idea is not to run into this, so that you can if you put the queen on d7.
My main mistake was knight f6. Although it's already very pleasant for black.
Yeah, it's already like I was very optimistic here. Time situation and everything that was going on, I was already I mean this. I feel like this is a theme in these Berlin positions as well. Like these constructions like will eventually be broken down, even if it looks nice.
Also, your bishop is like a tremendous piece on e5.
Bishop, it
just
incredible.
Never gets kicked away and never gets traded. Like I can't even maneuver my knight to f3 potentially, so it's just there eternally.
Knight f8.
It's like overall still quite high quality.
Yeah, I don't remember
exactly. Played badly. Knight d7, bishop f4, knight f6.
Yeah, I think I saw this, but I didn't like I obviously didn't take it seriously at all.
It's also kind of scary. But yeah, I'm sacking on f4, which I should have.
Oh, you're just taking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which I think I was considering, but so maybe I should have found that. But, okay, knight h5 isn't ridiculous either.
And this. Don't even remember this. I seem to remember that I thought I was just much better here.
Yeah, I felt like I was borderline losing.
Yeah.
But after rook g4, why would I reject rook g4? I feel like I would reject it because I'm scared of taking rook g8.
Queen g2 specifically? I have some vague memories that I was looking at this.
So queen e6 is...
Queen e6 and knight f2, bishop d4, queen
and then the queen goes to h3.
Yeah, I can get a queen.
Bishop f2, rook f2, rook g4, queen h3.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
Actually, after queen h3, you're probably in danger because rook f4 is such a big threat, and king d7, rook g2
seems to lose. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're.
But it's a really unpleasant position.
It's a really unpleasant position for sure. Yeah. No.
But I'm still not like doing bad objectively. I mean,
which again,
it's kind of shocking.
Maybe like the chess.com engine is just really bad. But I seem to remember that this was like minus 1.5 or something at the time.
I would assume that it got closer to a draw just because engines are so much stronger.
Yeah.
King f2, queen f3 is really logical. That's what I did. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then seem to remember that. I kind of expected this, but I didn't really. Also, like,
allowing rook g3 is scary. Just so happens that this queen h3 and 1 a4. Okay, it's probably kind of systematically okay.
But I mean,
it's not fun.
It's not fun at all.
Yeah, my memory of it wasn't that I was my big mistake was on move 33. I basically felt like things had already semi-collapsed.
Yeah.
But apparently my first decisive mistake was on 33. And now it's...
Yeah, but the thing is, I think so far all my moves have been so easy, like the entire game, like I was up way on time, and I mean, I was pretty sure that I was going to win at this point, and I'm sure you were pretty sure that you were going to lose this. So
with seconds in this position, it did feel totally lost. I did have I wasn't in a hopeless mindset yet because I felt like I have potential to consolidate, but most of the time you don't consolidate.
Yeah, but what did I do here? I ended up going queen. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that I didn't just go king b7 first.
But you probably wanted to stop queen h1 because if I get queen h1, knight f3, at least king b7, I would immediately play queen h1 and...
yeah. But still, you're not getting out.
Yeah, this is...
King d2, even like b5.
Or queen b2 first.
Okay, maybe some e5 randomly holds, take everything and... It's not that easy. But I remember when I was showed queen g7 after the game, that's not an obvious move at all, I would say. You obviously look at queen e5 and then you rejected rook g2.
Could potentially reject it.
Yeah, I did. I remember, I did look at this line. I just... I didn't love the general idea of...
I don't think I survived this, though, because, also... Queen f3, queen a2, queen h5, my pawns are not moving, and you can just start arranging a pawn, a5, b5, right?
Yeah, I can go b5. Oh, you can take.
Or first queen a2 and then a5, and I don't. But... Okay, well, apparently
a5. Yeah,
it's not super easy.
It's not super easy now. I mean, here you're never queening, so and then queen c5 is just always f3. So let's say the queen goes,
because queen e7 is not really a check. I mean, it's
okay. Here you just queening.
But after queen g1, it was you still had, I think, a clear win after that.
Yeah. So h4. I don't know why I played h4. This is. I should have just gone back, but.
I also don't know why I played e5. I probably just thought king b7 and then I take on f4, right? So after e5, maybe I wasn't.
I'm pretty sure my plan was this, and then rook e8.
Yeah, my king is
safe. My king is completely safe. Yeah, this was insane.
No, I don't have a memory of why I rejected e5, but I also with 45 seconds or so.
But I remember I was not thinking clearly at all here. There was just too much adrenaline.
I mean, it is weird to have such... maybe not weird because it the last two matches also, like the first game was kind of wild,
but yeah, you don't expect to get a chance with black in the first game. No, that's for sure.
But like, wait, so in the first game of Ting versus Jan, wait, did Jan win the first?
Oh, no, he won the second.
The second game. So the first game was just a normal draw.
Yeah.
And then Gukesh lost the first game with white against Ting.
Yeah. Yeah, C3. Yeah, this I remember. I mean, obviously my plan was to go rook G3, but I kind of just lost heart, I think. I ended up in a space where I was thinking that I'm not sure if these pawns are queening, and
yeah, I lose everything.
Yeah, but how though?
C3. Yeah. Okay, it's not. I mean, it's not trivial. I mean, yeah, I am queening, so.
Yeah, it's a nice line actually.
Yeah, you win on F3.
Yeah.
No, but overall, this is a difficult calculation.
Yeah, and then if this.
Also, bishop b5 is not a bad move. I think I was shocked that you didn't play b5, because I just didn't like see what I'm doing because I can't move my knight in that case.
Oh, in this case.
Yeah, like I just don't have a move. So from the white side, you just see like you're totally devoid of ideas.
I think I was looking at stuff like, well, I think that, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this was insane.
Because at least now if my knight's on g4, I get a lot of positional hope. I mean.
So here is its queen a1 randomly wins, yeah.
Okay, it is tempting to take that pawn. No, I'm lucky that I aren't losing after bishops.
Yeah, I think I was just, yeah, queen g7, like, this is hard to explain because, as you said, like, you cannot move. So why would why not play b5 or, yeah, it's so logical. Just go b4 and then...
Yeah, I probably have to play b4, d4, just at least to get some space.
Yeah, this is so bad. This is so lost.
And then after bishop c3,
yeah, bishop f4. Yeah,
I think my defense was pretty solid this game.
It's very solid. Here.
No, it is lucky that I'm not losing this. I mean, it's really close.
Yeah, knight h6 is a nice one, and then it's just a draw. Yeah, I think there are a lot of decisions here. There are just first game nerves a lot. I like what my recollection was that I'm winning, but it was kind of like not that easy. But yeah, it really.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much pressure I felt like before the game started in the first game. It didn't feel like a normal or even like Canada's level pressure. It was definitely a different feeling.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a different beast altogether. Okay, so as far as I can remember, nothing.
I mean, I did have like a decent advantage.
You actually had a decent advantage in game 3.
Yeah, which I completely. Well, this is a nice end.
Yeah, this. I think you're supposed to just give up c5 and then play for compensation.
But BC was actually good in this version, right? Instead of knight d2. Or is it okay?
No.
I felt like...
I think the line was here. The line was something along these lines where...
At least it's not obvious that I should take...
It's not obvious, no. But...
I remember getting criticized after the game by my seconds for not taking, and like weirdly enough, I reviewed the game like quite a while after we played it. I mean, years after we played it, and I was surprised by how big the advantage was.
Yeah,
if I had invaded. I mean,
it's honestly shocking. I think I played these moves quickly because I assumed that this had to be the idea, because I seem to remember still that I was supposed to just allow. Yeah, but now, yeah, there's this line that I played against Hikaru a bunch. Like, I seem to remember that I was supposed to just allow this, but.
So after knight d2, you don't play bishop g4, basically?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, taking is a bit unusual,
I don't think I take...
Maybe bishop
b6.
Bishop
b6.
That does make sense.
And then here, something along these lines, yeah.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, this doesn't look that bad. No, bishop g4 was definitely wrong. Oh boy.
But yeah, it was only one moment in this game.
Yeah, and this of course compounds the mistake. I think I was just in a mindset where I seem to remember that I thought BC was critical, so I assumed after knight d2 I should be fine. But again, my knowledge was just not good enough. And
yeah, and instead of bishop d2,
instead of bishop d2, yeah, just take.
It's surprising how big the difference is, but this is like a really nasty position after queen a1, queen a7. which maybe I should have realized. But I just didn't think I thought I was maybe slightly better, but that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
And this one just sucks for black.
Yeah, I don't remember what Cessa was saying, but this was like already
I think it was
very significant.
+1 or so.
Yeah, +1 or so. Yeah, this is really bad. I mean, it's still surprising. It still looks quite innocuous, but it is just a huge advantage.
I mean, it's definitely not a guarantee that I make anything of it, but
no.
It's a free roll for sure. And then I think you were better, but like not significantly.
Not significantly, yeah. There wasn't much in this. Yeah, then I think
was just like kind of unpleasant for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were thinking with this prep.
No, this is...
In hindsight, it's such a stupid prep.
It really is.
Like, just assume that you play B3. Which I mean, not here, but like in the very start of the.
Oh yeah.
That we just assume like the main line is CB4.
And that was our plan initially, but it's just a bit better for white. Yeah. That was what we realized as well. Yeah, so you kind of have to. And then this is all like
just
forced stuff, which is it's all basically a forced.
Nothing's changed.
Forced draw, and nothing's really changed. But I don't remember what was.
I think basically I was like, okay, probably.
It was Rook D1. Rook D1 was the line.
Yeah,
and then you have this,
which we actually had. But I forgot it.
You have this position, which I mean, it's technically very slightly better for white, but it's just very drawish.
I just forgot and decided to think on my own and got into a pretty unpleasant position. I felt.
Yeah. There was just King B6, which was, but I mean, it was not a big chance by any means. But then...
This was our best game of the match from, like, overall quality from both sides, I thought. I mean...
Maybe. Like, my play was really, really sloppy at some point. Like, obviously, we're kind of hoping that you guys didn't have knight c6. Like, I mean, people are doing okay with knight f6 now as well, but at least then you kind of get a game, right?
So, like, when we were checking knight c6, I think I played a game against Christian, and he played, what was it after knight d4? It's queen d3, right? Which which immediately, no, it's a queen c4.
Queen c4.
And then like years later, we were discussing the position again, and he was like, what about queen c4?
That's funny. Christian is Fabiano's main coach, or was, at the very least, at the time, for those who are wondering. Yeah, that's funny.
I did feel like the end game that we got was like it was underestimated in our prep, but it did feel a bit unpleasant.
Yeah. No, it did feel like a very slight advantage at some point, but then I just completely lost my way. Like I spent ages on this maneuver, which was just nonsense, to be honest.
Yeah, this G3 stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, knight c8 was nice, of course, and then I think I just completely underestimated c5, and then as far as I can, I more or less blitzed the next couple of moves, and then I realized that I'm not even equal. Like I'm just, from thinking I'm slightly better, I'm just worse. Yeah,
I think your chances of advantage are pretty much evaporated at this point.
Yeah,
I don't know where you.
No,
maybe keeping the knights. Yeah, maybe that would be the way.
Yeah, I seem to remember that. Yeah, but I mean, probably knight c8, there was just nothing, yeah. Maybe it was just a feeling I had at the time. But yeah, this was crazy. No real sense of danger here whatsoever. Like here, I was still thinking that I'm very slightly better, and I cannot for the life of me understand why.
Yeah, it does feel like my pieces are all pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're getting a few moves in, like bishop f4 and everything, all the trades go in your favor. Even in that case, it's equal.
But for now, I'm underdeveloped. Your pieces are better, and it's just... and...
Here I did feel like mildly optimistic because your bishop is so awkward.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling the heat here already. And bishop d1 was, I don't know how much time I spent, but this was a bit...
If we assume this is accurate on the side, I mean, it has 46 minutes at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. I just remember I was getting fidgety at this point because I didn't like this direction whatsoever. I'm a little bit surprised that the engine says that white is just fine, because it did feel like, in many ways, it did feel a little bit unpleasant. I think this was my original.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting this
idea, right? And rook e8, and
I don't know if I would play rook e8, or I can't remember if it was rook e8 or rook d7 that I wanted.
I mean, rook d7, I go to f4, right? So
no, in either case, you're okay.
Yeah, but I think this was my original plan, just to go for bishop f4, and my first instinct was that white is fine, but I couldn't really see how to equalize completely, even if I get this and this. Do I really want to take on e6? And it's very, very minor stuff, but I think I just looked at it for a few minutes and then moved my bishop, which is honestly a crazy decision.
It was a very risky moment, because now it's really sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, d4 is just super weak.
It's really...
You kind of did what you had to do at this point forward, right?
Yeah, I think I had to trade. And this is more or less a forced... and this was my other, moment of insanity, not going for a4, because... Yeah, I mean, you really should not lose this position with the dark squared bishops and the knight being well placed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting knight on e3, king on d3, then you're just too solid.
You just set to illustrate. You can make moves like bishop e6.
King e2 first.
Yeah, or king e2 first, just to prevent bishop c3. Say the bishop goes to e7. I mean, you can go g4, or you can just g5.
Just not a6 and bishop.
But the thing is, I was even looking at f4 in these situations, and that
this is a fortress.
It's pretty much a fortress. g6, I can even go f5. I think.
Yeah, this is definitely a fortress.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to.
Or I mean, king c3 and then.
No, I think f5 is 100% a fortress, because I'm not breaking through on the queen side ever. Bishop f4 or king c3. Yeah.
King c3.
No, allow f4.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit sweaty, but I mean, I don't think you're ever doing anything here. But the thing is that this was clearly very, very drawish. I decided that this was also okay. I don't remember if I missed bishop a3 or I just underestimated it, but judging by the time, I definitely didn't feel great after that move.
And it is a pure free roll, which feels really nice in a match with the black pieces.
Yeah. f4, I guess this was logical.
I don't remember what I was thinking, but
I mean, bishop
d7,
comes to c6 is very logical. Bishop d1.
But now you're purely in survival mode, right?
Yeah,
you're on the edge of.
I'm definitely on the edge here. All my moves here are quite. Yeah, they're quite forced. I have to go f4, f5, and then.
Yeah, I don't remember why I think it was a big decision to take the d4 pawn, not the a2 pawn, but I can't remember why I rejected. Okay, knight a2, probably knight c2, right? Or there's knight c1 there?
There's knight c1. Yes,
okay, so
bishop a7. No, I think I saw this bishop knight c1 and bishop d1, and this. I seem to remember that I was not super worried about this, but I mean, it does look a bit yucky.
It does look very drawish, though. I mean, also instead of knight c2, some way to attack d5, but I mean, b3 is also weak. But okay, I think my decision was sensible as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can even give d4 and go g4, g5, it should be okay. No, I think yours was the most, I mean, definitely the one that I feared the most.
So I did have this feeling the d-pawn was very dangerous, but I mean, just seeing this number, which is almost nothing, is sobering.
No, but I do remember that I couldn't. There were many instances like this. I couldn't refute knight f1. I remember that, but it just looks so dangerous.
Yeah. Also, the way the engine plays is just putting a knight on d2 and wait and sitting, which is not super easy.
Yeah.
With the king on f2.
And it feels like these pawns on the king side are.
Yeah, they're not moving.
They're not moving, and I mean, I guess my king is always very active, but it didn't feel good. So, say takes king a2, bishop b4, say bishop c2.
So wait, if I go to b1, then just pawn a4, it's not a big deal at all.
No, but
or you can, because the king goes to e4.
Yeah, it goes to e4. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a surprise for me that you gave up the piece, but it didn't seem like a bad decision necessarily.
No, I definitely misjudged this because firstly I misjudged it, but secondly I also missed bishop a3. I thought I'm getting this pawn rolling. I'm completely.
Yeah, without bishop a3, I don't.
Bishop a3, I thought it's just dead draw, and then
it's actually the second time I've played bishop a3, which is funny.
Yes, I think I may have missed it twice actually.
No, without that, then I have.
Yeah, then you have nothing, but yeah, no, it's definitely definitely getting worried. So yeah, keeping the 8 pawn looks logical. Do you remember if there were any chances for you here, or are we just arriving at this?
I think it was just a draw. Yeah,
it was just a draw. Yeah.
I mean, I have very little freedom here.
Yeah.
And there was like one winning opportunity in the game.
Yeah. Later on, there was one.
Yeah, I was really surprised by this decision. I just didn't expect you to just give the pawn to get the king there.
As far as I can remember, I just was really sure that it was a fortress, and I thought like I can sit here and try and find another fortress, but yeah, I'm not sure about it. So let's just go for this one. Also, like I didn't like the idea of letting the knight to e5.
It is a fortress, but it's such a borderline one. It's like
No, I didn't realize it was that borderline. That's the thing.
But this is a draw. It's just I have some like accidental win.
Yeah, it's a very nice fortress actually.
So I don't really remember nuances, but yeah, you let my knight get to e2. I think king g6 is already lost, right?
Yeah, king g6 is the losing move. Yeah,
which is kind of unfair. It's so natural. In blitz you play it automatically.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. And then bishop g5, and then bishop h4 specifically wins.
It's not easy, I think.
And then you put the knight on, like you trap the knight on g3, right?
Yeah, I already given up hope.
I mean, I could sense that at the time. That I think we both were just sure that this was a fortress.
Yeah, I don't even know if I considered bishop h4. I actually don't remember my thoughts. And I just remember thinking for 2 hours in bed about why it's winning. Also, because my knight goes to g1 here.
Oh yeah, that's where you're.
And then my king goes to g8 because if my king's on h8 at any moment.
No, I remember that. If the king comes to h8, you're just winning because you're getting to h6.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's like findable, but it is on the edge of findable and not findable.
But it's also after 5 hours, right? And
yeah,
it's really, really tough.
Yeah, like besides that one mistake, the game did not contain any swings.
No, I mean, I certainly made some moves that made it a bit more difficult, and I think you did a fantastic job, like putting on pressure from a position which looked, dead equal. I don't know. Maybe it was all in my own head, but I didn't imagine. Like there were many points where I thought I was just out of the woods, and then there was something there. I don't know. What was the mate in 36 or something?
I think it was maybe more than that, but I don't know if engines maybe changed. But Sese was strong enough to calculate till mate, right? At that time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was 36.
Yeah, maybe it was a bit more.
If I had found this, I would consider it like my best game I've ever played.
Yeah, because apart from that, I did start defending well at some point. I think
you didn't make egregious mistakes. I don't think, just like some
questionable choices here and there. So this was game 6. Then game really 7 boring. Was probably the most boring game, and then game 8 again was
this was I really regret this one. This was really stupid.
So I remember thinking that we were going to face knight d5 at some point, because we did consider it to be like generally the most dangerous line. I mean, as it wasn't coming, we weren't quite sure what to expect, right? And the lines that I was checking from day to day definitely were not the most thorough, for sure, because I was definitely not into the details there. So like, what was the process for you guys, like getting to the point where you just wanted to go for knight d5?
We had already been considering it from the previous white game, but we just weren't like at the point where I was ready to play it. And so first we started with I guess this was a critical position.
Yeah.
This was a theory at the time, and
then we started with either bishop d2 or king h1, right? So
yeah, and
those were most of the time.
I think bishop d2 was like the more modern approach, which like Oparin used to beat Gelfand. I think that was like one of the key games. And then king h1 was like the old stuff, which was at some point after we went through bishop d2 and b4, then king h1 was like, what else can we do? So that was the last try that we were going to use. Later in the match, but then you switched to knight e7. But bishop d2, we hadn't found b4 yet, and we were pretty happy with this direction, I think. But it was enormously complicated, and what you played was only one of the lines.
Yeah.
I think what was confusing to us at the time were these positions where I forget exactly how it goes, but white plays c3, b4, and then very often b5, and that was strategically shocking. But Leela was really happy sometimes with that structure with white's pawn on b5. I don't remember exactly the details, but those were the lines that we were considered critical. And this stuff that you played with knight e5,
Yeah.
First, we were looking at knight takes e5, which just looked terrifying for white. So then we figured that you probably shouldn't take on e5. But that whole process took a long time as well.
Yeah. In retrospect, like this was an insane line to go down to begin with for black, since there are definitely more solid choices. And then g5 was just an attempt to recall like the final position of a line that I remembered. Like I could see during the game, like I'm not in time, and then I just ended up playing it regardless, which was a bit crazy because it's just c4, c5, and then
g5 is basically a losing move.
Yeah,
I think I had like a game against Peter a few months later from the other side, and I was trying to recall I think I played bishop f6, c4, g5, and then I wondered like, or maybe he didn't play c4, maybe he played king h1. Is that possible? Or like I just remembered that after g5, I was wondering what to do after g3, and I didn't feel comfortable with my position.
Yeah.
But he allowed f4 and then, but yeah, after g5, c4, I just felt like, this is pretty much a disaster for black. But I didn't know how much of a disaster yet, which it's about as bad as it can get.
It is about as bad as it can get. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those.
Oh, sorry, the game against Wheeler was bishop f6, bishop e2, g5.
And then g3, and you were thinking that you were stuck there.
I think so, but I think anyways, I might be misremembering. This was a game from 2019, Cranky.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, generally, this is a extremely risky direction for black to take. Like, you really don't need to do this.
Yeah, and like what you showed later with like against Maxime, I think.
Yeah, that's
like a very good solution.
Yeah.
You just like stop the pawn on a4 and play a5, b6, and so on.
People have sort of stopped doing this for white. Like they're going for some earlier a5 stuff just to.
It does feel like a fashion thing still.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, B4, honestly, we were super, like, we didn't know, and like even for later games, like we found it hard to find something that we were really satisfied. Like, I don't know if that was the Lila thing or not, but it looks so crazy, but we just, yeah.
Yeah, this was linear working with Lila.
Yeah, we really didn't, like, that was the reason why we switched, because not because we were worried that you were gonna go to king h1 or whatever. We just like didn't like the positions after b4 at all.
Yeah, I think on principle I wouldn't have repeated it because I just assumed like I shouldn't be repeating like the last thing I've done. But b4 was a good idea. That was definitely one of our better ideas in the match.
Yeah. Okay. But g5 is just a wild move.
Yeah, I think this is I think the easiest one was rook ae1 instead of rook ad1. This was probably, I think rook ae1 is like +3 or something, plus maybe more than that.
Yeah, I mean, to be like basically white has a bind, the pawn is too strong, and the black king is perpetually weak. So these are some of the reasons why. I mean, also the black queen is passive. Like black position is just a wreck here.
I think it's also like calculatable because your options are, you have like basically two moves, bishop g6 and bishop f6 in any position. So
no, but what was the refutation
bishop
here?
E5 or not bishop?
Oh, bishop e5. Yeah. This. Yeah, here. I seem to remember even like queen c3. I just couldn't see what to do. But apparently, like,
okay, it's not super trivial. Yeah,
it's not super trivial. But rook d1.
So
here,
like h5 is of course the.
But I think this is what I was looking at, and I just I just couldn't make it work for black. I mean, it doesn't work for black. Yeah. But basically, I'm just falling apart.
I mean, h3 is insane. I think like queen h5 was kind of my instinct after bishop d6. I started seeing some ghosts after bishop g6, queen h6, which, rook f7, rook fe1, or knight.
Yeah.
But it's just over. It's not too difficult, I think.
No, the d6 is coming in. And the thing is, like, it's shocking how it goes from, and then after h3, it's just more or less a forced draw.
Yeah, it's just zeros, basically.
Yeah.
But it was such a soft move.
No, I mean, knight c4, I don't remember what I was thinking about queen h5, but knight c4 I thought was kind of, it was just calculable because, like, the only way not to resign immediately is g4 and g3, but it just doesn't work.
I don't remember looking at bishop knight c4. I think my instinct was not knight c4 in general. I just think I was focusing on queen h5, got a bit scared, and then played h3 thinking, okay, whatever, it's still
still going to be winning. And then
it's not at all.
Yeah. I seem to remember that I played this. Yeah, I think I played this basically without thinking because I was just got away with something here.
Yeah, from the black side, you probably feel like once you get some freedom, it just feels like a whole.
But hey, this really like felt like game one to me. Like it's just like a super obvious choice, but it's just hesitation at the wrong time for both of us.
That was my feeling after the match. Okay, I mean, I didn't miss a big chance here, but the first game was a gift as well, and I never really blamed myself very much for game 6. This one I did kind of blame myself, but
yeah, and then you could say like you had a slight chance in game 3, and then game 7, maybe no, not game 7, game 9.
Obscure Bishop one, or
Obscure Bishop one. Like I had some slight chances there as well. I mean, I'm not sure if they were real, but I think they were.
At least practically, yeah. And game 10 was a good game.
I think game 10 was a fantastic game. Like, I mean, obviously we made some mistakes here and there, but overall, I think it was very, very high level.
I mean, for the complexity of the position, it was because I definitely had maybe a decisive advantage at some point, but I had to allow an attack.
Yeah.
Which was just so difficult, I think.
Okay, yeah, so this ended up in a draw. So this is game 8. I mean, this was... Not a fantastic idea by any means. Like white is it's not better, but like the most obvious, like the most direct choices don't really, like it doesn't quite equalize for black. So this was basically what I knew, that these positions were not quite drawn, but which honestly I think this is probably the best I had as white the whole match. Like the only time that I got you thinking, and
yeah, I felt very under pressure here.
Yeah,
I mean I kind of went for the forcing stuff because I thought strategically there's a lot of risk if I don't take on f3.
Yeah, no, well, I mean when you come to this point, right?
Yeah, I definitely didn't want to play e4. Like,
yeah,
that was pretty clear to me. But like I didn't want to kind of mess around too much. I thought at least okay, that one should be.
Yeah, I mean you got a bishop on b6 as well, right? So like it's not like you can mess around a ton positionally speaking. But
I mean, only h5 was like a bit of an inaccuracy. Besides that, there was nothing.
Yeah. No, this is the only point. Like you really need to play g6 now to avoid the thing. The thing is that such a position is actually, even with both rooks exchanged, for those who are wondering, it
just sucks.
It's actually very sad because there's always this idea, and yeah, I think h5 was just more or less, I'll throw it out there and we'll see what happens. But it was, to play that after 10 minutes was really quite weak because, it's most probably not going to give me anything significant. I can definitely pretend here, like rook f8, whatever, king g2 or something.
Yeah, I think I would play h5 f5.
Yeah, h5 f5. But with this, there isn't much. But I'm gonna keep one rook, move around a bit, and then try and play e4 at some point. It's definitely like a little something. But yeah, game 10 was just a great game. So we get into this again, the same position that we were talking about, and then b4.
So you were totally on your own.
I was totally, yeah. We hadn't considered this. Like we hadn't gone beyond king h1 and bishop d2. I think we'd like briefly looked at some very early a5 stuff, but no.
People are still playing like losing with white very quickly here by playing queen f3, like instead of a4. Queen
yeah, I saw the rest. I did that.
No, but it was really funny because I was playing like a 15 game 3-minute match against Wesley on chess.com.
Yeah.
I don't know, a6 first, right?
Oh,
a6 queen a3.
a6
and you're supposed to play bishop g5 to provoke f6.
Yeah, exactly.
They play bishop d2, castle bishop b4, take knight a6, bishop d2, bishop g5, which is game over. Despite what the engine says, like -4 or something.
Yeah.
And Wesley played this against me in a 3-minute blitz game. I checked the game after. I see that it's -4, and then Ali Reza plays against me in the World Championship.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. But yeah, we weren't looking at queen f3 during the match at all.
No, I mean, that's a bit much. But yeah, b4, this was just completely out of left field for me. There are other options, but I think it's hard not to go for a5 when you're facing it for the first time. It feels like the critical choice positionally. But in retrospect, like the more hardcore attacking stuff for black is a better way to go. But we, even for game 12, like we didn't like this at all.
I think we didn't pay much attention to his A5 just because we were kind of only looking at the engine for the most part, and it just hated this, so we were okay.
Yeah.
Bishop E3.
No, I just, like, this is as far as I went. As you see, like, I didn't even spend that much time. I just thought Queen E8, and I went to more or less how bad can this be, right? I was just thinking, like, you're not breaking through on the queen side, and I should have something to play for on the king side. And I think it's
not that bad. Objectively, I think.
Yeah, and then like it's kind of shocking that Rook A3, which I think is what anybody would play in this position with Queen G6 and so on coming. Like this basically gives away the advantage on the spot,
and makes it very double edged as well.
Yeah,
Rook E1 was important.
Rook E1
memory, which is very logical.
It is logical, but yeah, I don't remember what I was thinking here, but.
I think we did have Rook E1 in the notes. It just wasn't one of the main directions, so I didn't remember.
No, I mean, at least for the first game, you're never going to remember all the things that are not like near the main lines. It's just not possible.
Also, like let's say we get here F3 Knight F6 or something. Nobody's playing Rook B1.
No, maybe you go Queen King H1, right?
But do you really sack the D5 pawn? Is it?
Oh, like I thought you were. Evidently, you're not.
I'm scared to open the H5.
Oh, you're just.
Or okay, maybe not. The H5 doesn't even matter. Yeah.
No, but I mean, then you don't sack the D5 pawn.
Yeah, and then just play this position.
This is we're not good enough for this. At least in a decisive World Championship match, like in a decisive game.
Yeah, B5 I was a bit surprised by it, but it's not a bad move.
It was just adrenaline, to be honest. I wanted to clarify the position, and it just looked very, very tempting. So I think.
Yeah, this is the moment where I think Bishop B5 is objectively like more or less winning, but you have to allow an attack. Like Shanklin annotated this game and included some nice lines here. Probably something along the lines of F3 was like one of his main lines at least, G3, and then Queen in H, or no, this.
Yeah, this is just nothing.
But there's something where Black tries to arrange Bishop H3. And it doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, the weird thing is that I actually included B4 after
G3.
After G3 and not here. And then it makes sense that the rook is a lot worse on the B file than on the fourth.
But it is logical to want to lure the bishop from E2 as well.
Yeah.
And okay, Queen G5 does prepare Rook F6 and so on. So
so this kind of prevents it at the very least.
I don't think F3 was good. F3 wasn't good for Black. I mean, it was equal as well.
Yeah. Now we just get to something that I remember. Like I was still super nervous here because I think especially in these positions, I was
also nervous.
Pretty nervous.
I felt like there was a lot of potential for White to lose this. But we did play it pretty well.
Yeah, we did play it all right. I think there was just one bad moment for me.
It was King C5 or something later?
Yeah, King
D4. King
D4 is really, really unnecessary. Like at this point, I should have just forced a draw.
I do remember you looked very disappointed after Rook B5.
Yeah.
But it's still just a forced draw. Just a bit.
Yeah. What was my thought here? I was actually a little bit worried about something like Rook C5, Rook E6, and then Rook A4 or something like this. And then Rook F6, starting to probe.
Okay, if I get both rooks to the 8th, then...
Yeah.
But I don't think I get that if you're careful.
I mean, I go G6, G5.
But if you're just careful to move or 2 before. I mean...
apparently Rook E8 draws? What's the...
Just King on G8. And then just wait.
Okay. That's modern engines for you.
I mean, I would rather play this with 2 rooks for sure. Then I wouldn't have agreed to a draw immediately.
No, I think at this point we're both kind of getting out of there. But yeah, I was a bit relieved that there was Rook F4. No, I think this is what I was thinking about. And then King H7, King takes F3. And okay, now I have this and this.
Or immediately Rook, yeah. before.
Oh, actually, this is a great setup, like wherever you go. Yeah, that is just a dead draw.
I think like people question me why I didn't play 3 against 2, because in the first game you played, but that was a totally different 3 against 2. I mean, this is the most basic.
Yeah, this is the most.
That was with my pawn split, so I thought it was different scenario.
Yeah, that was, I mean, there was like a little something, but here, yeah. This is as basic as it gets. I think we've probably spent enough time on this. We all good? Bye.